Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my LSU football predictions for the 2023 college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Please, guys, to the channel. Greatly appreciate if you do that. We're really trying to grow the channel. So LSU last year, first year under Brian Kelly, went 10-4. They went ahead. They made it to the SEC championship game, including getting on the way to making it to the SEC championship game. They got big wins against Alabama. They went ahead as well, and they got a big win against Ole Miss at home. Um, they lost the SEC championship game to the eventual back-to-back national champs in Georgia. They did win their bowl game against Purdue in blowout fashion, and they got the 10 wins. This year, the expectation for LSU is probably making the college football playoffs, so and probably possibly even winning the SEC. So let's see where I have LSU at. The over/under is at 9.5. The FBI has them as the fourth best team in college football. The best case scenario for LSU this year, in my opinion, is 12-0. The worst case scenario is 8-4. If you look at the schedule, it's low key a tricky schedule. The out conference slate is Florida State, Grambling, Army, and Georgia State. Two of those opponents, Grambling and Georgia State, LSU should run through. Army, they do run that triple option, so they only have a week to prepare for that. So that could be a bit of a slugfest, a bit of a tricky game there. Florida State, though, that's a swing game. Week 1, Sunday night, Florida State, neutral site in Orlando. Remember last year, LSU botched the extra point, and Florida State came away with a upset victory. Upset victory. So, um, we'll see what happens this year. And we'll see where I have LSU going. They bring back the quarterback, Jaden Daniels. As I said, this is Brian Kelly's second year. 15 starters come back in total, 8 on the offensive end, 7 on the defensive end. So let's get into it. We'll kick it off week 1 at home, not at home, week 1 in Orlando. Neutral site game in Orlando against Florida State. Probably more of a Florida State crowd since the game is in the state of Florida, even though it's not in northern Florida, it's more in central Florida. Um, this I think revenge is going to be LSU's mind. I think LSU will come in probably as the same as last year, probably like a 3-point favorite. I think LSU gets the job done against Florida State. I think they find a way to beat Florida State. Remember revenge from last year. They get a big win week 1 neutral site game, and probably your biggest game of the week. Your next video after this is going to be Florida State football predictions. I'm going in order of my top 25, and I have this game as number 4 versus number 5. So, I have LSU winning this game, and I think they get a big win in week 1. Week 2, Grambling. They'll beat Grambling. Not going to spend much time on that. FCS opponent take care of business there. Next game, LSU. They open up SEC play against Mississippi State on the road. Mississippi State, new head coach coming in, and Zach Arnett. I do think Zach Arnett will be a good coach for Mississippi State, but it might take a year or two. Remember, and he's taking over a pretty good team. They are changing some philosophies there. It is in Stark Vegas. I could see this game kind of being close, but at the end of the day, I think LSU wins this game, and they open up SEC play with a win on the road against Mississippi State. Next game is at home against Arkansas for the boot trophy. Arkansas kind of fell off a little bit last year. They were 7-6 last year. This year, I think they are expected to be a little bit better, but at the same time, it's in Death Valley. It's in LSU. I think LSU gets the win at home against Arkansas, and they start out the year 4-0. LSU does, and their next game is on the road against Ole Miss. Last year, this game was kind of a blowout, 45-23, I believe was the final score of this one. If I'm not 45-20, 45-20 was the final score of this one. In LSU's favor at home. I'm kind of high on Ole Miss this year. I think Ole Miss is a team that could definitely be a dark horse to possibly compete for a college football playoff spot. If you're looking for one, they have quietly, since Lane Kiffin has got there, and you might laugh at the term quietly, but I mean, no one points out Lane Kiffin's winning 8, 9 games a year at Ole Miss. It's in Oxford. This is a game. It's a bit of a tricky spot. I think maybe not so much a tricky spot, but I think this is going to be a back and forth game. This is to me. This is close to a pick 'em. Maybe LSU is a slight favorite, but I'm gonna call possibly for the minor upset. I think Ole Miss goes ahead and beats LSU, and LSU suffers their first loss of the year. It's in Oxford. I just have a feeling that Ole Miss, revenge after last year's embarrassment, gets the win. Next game is on the road against Missouri. Missouri is a team. Um, they're going to be okay this year, but nothing special. It's on the road, yes, but at the same time, coming off a loss, I think LSU takes care of business and probably wins pretty comfortably against Missouri. And I have LSU being Missouri. So the first 6 games, 5-1. At this point, you're probably still talking college football playoffs, possibly SEC championship appearance. Because remember last year, I believe that LSU they lost 2 games in the SEC and still went ahead and no, they lost 3 games in the SEC. No, they lost 2 games in the SEC, and they still went ahead and made to the SEC championship game. So, kicking off the second half of the schedule at home against Auburn, I am not high on Auburn at all this year. I think people are overhyping Hugh Freeze higher. I think LSU at home takes care of business against Auburn, gets a win there, and starts. And then the next game is against Army at home. Um, Army, they run that triple option. I think this game could be a little bit closer only because LSU is going to only have a week to prepare for the triple option. But I think LSU still comes out on top, gets the win there against Army. So going into the bye week, only one loss. You come out of the bye week on the road to kick off November against Alabama. We already did our Alabama football prediction video, so go check that out. It's on the road against Alabama. Last year, LSU won the game, I believe, in double overtime. I believe. It might have only went one overtime, but it was a crazy wild game. Um, I think Alabama's going to get paid back. I think LSU loses the game against Alabama. Now, granted, I will say this game has been a lot more, I'm not going to say interesting, but I feel like LSU has been a lot more competitive the past few years, starting in 2019. 2019, matter of fact, LSU went to Alabama with that team, Joe Burrow, and won the game. Then 2020, I believe, was a one possession game. 2021 was a one possession game as well. So, and you saw what happened in 2022. So this game is definitely more competitive. It would not surprise me if LSU actually goes into Alabama and wins this game. But I think revenge from last year. I think Alabama beats LSU, and LSU suffers their second loss of the season. Next game is at home against Florida. A Florida team that's not going to be that good this year for per Florida standards. It's in Death Valley. I think LSU takes care of business here and gets the win against Florida. Next game is Georgia State. Not going to spend much time on this one. I do think Georgia State might be one of the better Sun Belt teams per se. We'll see. But I think LSU they'll take care of business against Georgia State. And then the final game at home against Texas A&M. So your final 3 games are at home after the Alabama game. Uh, that's kind of weird, but at home, I know last year you guys lost to them. I think revenge is going to be on the mind. I think LSU gets the win against Texas A&M because I honestly think they're the better team. The game's in Death Valley, so go ahead, give me LSU in that one. So if you total up all the wins and losses, I have LSU going 10-2, 6-2 in the SEC. 10-2, 6-2 in the SEC. Same record as last year in the SEC. One more win than last year. I don't think LSU makes the playoffs. I do think they make a New Year's Six Bowl, and I'll give you those projections probably the week before the season starts. So stay tuned for that. But I think the Tigers, they do improve slightly from last year, and possibly has a shot at 11 wins. Because if you saw my Alabama football prediction video, I have Alabama with a 7-1 SEC record. So comment down below. Tell me what you think about LSU this year. I always like hearing from you all. Thanks for watching the video. Hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. I very appreciate you do that. McD the Beast signing off.